Welcome to week 2, day 4 of our e-learning lessons. Our performance task. I will need to be able to identify and explain the theme of a story. Also, I will need to be able to use text evidence to support my answer and elaborate more with specific details. In addition, I will need to be able to compare and contrast two different texts or themes. Finally, I will need to be able to identify first and third person point of view within a text. I will need to be able to explain my answer by giving key words and evidence from the text to support my answers. Our focus words for the week. Yanked, feast, streak, model, studio, ruined, schedule, concerned, smeared, glorious, passenger, apartment, newspaper, market, biscuits. Day 4 essential questions. How can I identify theme by using the clues in the story? How can I answer comprehension questions based off the text? Also today, we're going to be focusing on point of view with some extra practice from yesterday's lessons. We will be watching a short video about point of view, and we're focusing on first person and third person point of view. In the video, make sure we pay close attention to what's being presented and what's important in the video.
Point of view. Point of view is the place from which you see something. You can see something like a forest from different points of view, from the ground, inside the forest, or from above, outside the forest. Notice how the 2 points of view are very different. Every story has a narrator who tells the story. The narrator always has a point of view from inside the story or from outside the story. When the narrator is a character inside the story, this is called first-person point of view. In this story, the narrator is inside the story, the girl with the hat. I wonder what my friends are talking about. Are Liam and Emma making plans to do something fun without me? The pronouns I, my, and me are clues that the story is told by a character inside the story from the first-person point of view. When the narrator is someone outside the story, this is called third-person point of view. This time, the narrator is outside the story looking down from above. Bella is sad because she dropped her lunch. The girls see it and they frown. The boy smiles because he thinks it's funny. The pronouns she, they, and he are clues that the story is told by someone outside the story from the third-person point of view. Think about the story you're reading now. Is it told from the first person or the third person point of view? To find out, look for pronoun clues.
In your work today, we're going to be looking at point of view practice and more point of view practice. They're short and quick, but we're going to be looking for quick keywords that can help us identify what is the point of view. So starting with the very first part, Number 1, 4 boys and a dog made their way up the abandoned railroad tracks. So based on what we have, take a moment and look for a key word from yesterday's lesson that could help you identify as its first person or third person point of view. If you said third person point of view, you were correct. And the way that we can tell that it is third person point of view is because when we look in the clues, we see the word there. Number 2, when the woman finally called, I was afraid to answer the phone. If you said first person, you're absolutely correct because of the key word I. Let's look at number 3. You are responsible for what happens to you. I know what you're thinking. This isn't first person because there's not I, we, or us, or mine in there anywhere. It's not third person because there's not him, her, she, they, them, it. You're absolutely correct. It's not first or third. Number 3 is actually second person because they use the word you. Let's look at number 4. We stuck together. That's how we made it through successfully through many years. So if we're thinking about what we just read, think about what the clues in that sentence are. You're right. Those clues are leading you to the first person point of view. And the reason why first person, it says we. We means we're including the person who is telling the story that's part of the story, and they're including themselves like I. When there's more than just one, it becomes we. Look at number 5. 6 men in suits stood against the wall. The last one fiddled with his tie. Think about what you just read. What could possibly be the answer for that one? If you're looking at the key clue, his, that would make it third person point of view. And the way we know, because it said his. Number 6 is our last one we're going to do together. Then you're going to have some practice to do on your own for the next short ones that you're going to be working on. And you're still continuing the same thing, looking for clues that are going to help you out to identify is it first person or third person. Number 6. The evidence was unclear, but I had no trouble believing she was innocent. You're right. I already hear what you're thinking. It is definitely third person point of view. And the reason why, because we hear the word she. And when she is there, it does give us a clue of third person. Your part that will be graded today, you're going to have 7 short practices to identify is it first person or third person point of view. And then you're going to have 5 questions to answer about a short reading today, some comprehension questions about Caroline and the Castle, and you also have your day 4 exit ticket. So your assignment that you're doing is reading short passages. For example, when I rounded the corner, I could hardly believe my eyes. It was the dog. He sat up on his haunches and faced me, begging. Go back and look at your clues and decide, is it first person or third, and tell me what clues did you use. When he found out that he was to be responsible for showing Abby around that week, John was thrilled. In his mind, he saw them walking along the river's edge, eating out at restaurants, horseback riding, skiing. Abby was not so sure. She took a long, appraising look at the goofy guy in front of her and sighed. She already regretted having agreed to spend her summer in this town. Think about the clues and identify as that first person or third person and tell me your clues that helped you come up with your answer. Your next one is based off of a song by Aretha Franklin called Respect. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Think about a clue in that sentence that can help you identify is this first person or third person point of view. And tell me, what clue did you use? A verse from Kathy Mattea's song, Where Have You Been? Claire had all but given up when she and Edwin fell in love. She touched his face and shook her head in disbelief. She sighed and said, in many dreams I've held you near, but now at last you're really here. Identify if that is first person or third person point of view, and tell me what clues did you use to come up with that answer. From another song, Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters. On a blanket with my baby is where I'll be. Is this first person or third person point of view? Make sure you give me your clues that helped you come up with that answer. Their commander was a middle-aged corporal, red-eyed, scrawny, tough as dried beef, sick of war. He had been wounded 4 times and patched up and sent back to war. Is this first person or third person point of view? Give me your clues to tell me how did you come up with that answer. They say when you're young and we don't know, we won't find out until we grow. This is a song or part of a song called I Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher. So based on that part of the song, they say we're young and we don't care. We won't find out until we grow. Is this first person or third person point of view? And make sure you write down what clue words did you use to help come up with that answer. The next part of your independent work is a short read about Caroline and the castle. You're going to read the story and answer questions that go with it. As you're reading, what key words did you discover while you were reading that could help you with the point of view? Also, make sure you look at your Day 4 exit ticket about point of view from this short story. Caroline and the castle. Caroline lived deep in the forest. In the forest, there were enchanted fairies, ancient trees with arms, and talking woodland animals. Everything was magical in the forest, and Caroline was always happy there. Caroline's family lived in a treehouse high in the air. In this magical forest, the enchanted creatures of the forest all became friends with Caroline. One day, Caroline went on a walk with her family, and they came across a huge stone castle. The castle was surrounded by trees higher than any she had ever seen. Her mother walked to the castle gates and knocked softly. When she did, the gates opened and revealed a beautiful rose garden. On the other side of the rose garden, she could see beautifully painted windows and giant wooden doors to the castle. Her mother and father led the way to the castle doors, carefully avoiding the overgrown rose bushes. When they reached the door, it opened to reveal a royal corridor. A beautiful queen appeared from a nearby room and greeted them with a bow. After talking about the forest and how they got to the castle, the queen invited them to stay for dinner. A magnificent feast was prepared, and Caroline was most thrilled with the selection of desserts and cakes. She liked the chocolate truffles most. After the royal feast, Caroline and her family bid farewells and began their journey home. Caroline awoke in her bed the next day wondering if it was all a dream. Your assignment is to answer the next 5 comprehension questions that go with Caroline and the castle. Number 1, what kind of house did Caroline live in? Be very specific. Give me details from the reading. Number 2, list 3 adjectives to describe the queen. So if you had to use your own words to describe the queen, what would you use to describe her in this short story? I need 3 or more. Number 3, the last paragraph says that Caroline and her family bid their farewells. What does this mean? So focus on bid their farewells. What does that mean in the story? Number 4, name 2 things from the story that could not happen in real life. Number 5, name 2 things from the story that could happen in real life. If you have your paper printed, I want you to draw a picture of what you understand the castle to be in your mind based on the reading and the rose garden. If you're typing on the computer, you can use some clip art if you want to drop it in. If it's too challenging for you on the computer, you may skip this part of the assignment. Your Day 4 exit ticket. Based on the reading of Caroline and the Castle, what point of view was used in this story? What clues led you to this answer? And then you also have your vocabulary words I need you to work on. It says pick 5 or more words to write 5 complete sentences, detailed sentences. You must use the words correctly within each sentence. Make sure you have, if you're writing on paper, make sure it's neat enough for me to read, and you have capital letters and periods at the beginning. If you're typing on the computer, make sure you take your time to type it correctly, and make sure you give me details. Once you finish with that assignment, you may also make sure you go back and you work on your iReady reading and your iReady math minutes. If you're in Mr. Snyder or Miss Marini's homeroom, make sure you're working on your social studies that's under your homeroom social studies link on Edsby. And make sure at the very bottom of your writing or your reading and writing packet, there is the last 2 pages for writing. Make sure we take time to work on those. As you're working, each part of your assignment should be completely finished. Once you turn it in, I will be counting what you turned in as your grade. If parts are missing or incomplete, they will be marked as incorrect. If you have any questions, please take time to reach out to your teachers and we can help you with those parts if you need. Thank you.